spring ramble vid here today. I don't know how long it's going to be, so it might end up being a long one. I don't know yet. I consider long when it goes past like a half hour. It sounds like my laptop is making noise. It's making a little noise. I don't know if it's getting picked up. Whatever. It's me rambling about all types of stuff here today. What I've been watching. Some more what I've been playing. The Long Island serial killer. I mentioned this briefly, I think, in another video, but somebody mentioned it in a comment. I haven't responded yet. I did go to Big Lots earlier. I'm filming this on Monday, so I'm going to be filming a Big Lots haul as well. I got 4 things from Big Lots. Like a mini haul of it I'll do as well. Top up some other stuff. Thanks to the people who've been liking and commenting on the vids recently. It has helped my views and I guess exposure a little bit. So if you want to leave a like on this one as well, a little mass liking on this vid as well. I always feel weird asking for likes, but it does help. And people have also mentioned, liking and throwing comments in their own comment as well. So I appreciate that also. Appreciate everybody's just watching the videos. And I'll ramble whatever else is popping up. First thing is on the Long Island serial killer. They caught him the other day, Rex something with an H. He was an architect. And of course he lived in Massapequa Park specifically, but it's all Massapequa. The funny thing is, I used to walk past that person's house all the time. For years, when I would take walks, I would go across the tracks a lot. And that's where the house is located. And there have been, I think I saw somebody post on Instagram, I think somebody else from Long Island, people have been throwing parties, apparently, at the house next door and stuff, and the cops are still investigating the house and everything, so they got cops from Suffolk there as well, even though Massapequa is on the Massapequa Park. It's on the border. It's the town right before Suffolk. But the bodies were found in Gilgo Beach back in the day, which is Suffolk, I believe. So it's probably a cooperative effort. Now, I want to say they got his DNA off of pizza crust. He's eating in the city because he worked in the city. And they got that, and they found his wife's DNA as well, so that helped. Not that his wife was involved, but they found his, because on him, he probably had a hair on him. They found his hair like a burlap sack. They found, I think, 10 or 11 remains, bodies or whatever. Back in 2011, maybe they found it, or 10, 11, they were finding these bodies. Mostly women, I believe they were sex workers. There was, I think, a child's remains too, and a man. And he was only linked to a few bodies so far. I don't know if Gilgo Beach is like a dumping ground. But yeah, I used to walk past that house a ton. Apparently he'd been living there for a while. Actually, I think he's lived there for decades. But his house always gave... I've talked about this in the past, like when I'm walking, I always get vibes from things. Not necessarily bad vibes, but I just get I get feelings in my head. And I remember going past this house, and it was a little run down. There was always like random stuff on the lawn and stuff. It was a smaller red house, I believe. If I'm remembering, like a screened-in kind of area in the front. But I saw the pictures, like, it was Massapequa. I wonder where it was. I'm not going to say the street or anything, but it is across the tracks. I just say across the track because you have the Babylon train line runs through, like, all of Nassau and Suffolk until it's Babylon. Then it turns to the Montauk line, but it's the same line from Montauk all the way up until you get to Penn. It kind of runs the same South Shore line of Long Island and then Queens. And then it turns up and goes towards Penn Station. I'm not going to say the street or anything like that. I mean, you can find it. They say where it is in the articles, but across street is Michigan Avenue. I will say that. Because I was like, oh, it looks familiar. And then I was like, I saw the house in the pictures. And I was like, yeah, I used to pass it because I used to walk up there all the time. Just because the streets go left to right and up and down, north to south. There's no, like, where I lived in Massapequa. I lived closer to Massapequa High School in the Arlen Oaks, Plymouth Road I lived on. The house looks completely different. The house my aunt owned, she sold it. It was torn down and built into a bigger house. But I used to go out for walks all the time. And I would walk in my area I lived in was like very mazy, winding and stuff. And just like, oh my God, people would come and get lost in there a lot. Because there's a lot of weirdness. But up past the tracks, we'll say across Sunrise Highway. North of Sunrise Highway. I live south of Sunrise Highway. But north of Merrick Road. I lived in between Merrick and Sunrise. But I used to walk up there because I would also walk like towards Massapequa train station. Because Massapequa Park and Massapequa train station, they're literally like, when you're on the train, because when I come back from work, I get on the train at Massapequa, and then I head back to I gotta change a Babylon to get back out here. And they're literally like a minute apart from each other on the train. It's ridiculous. But I would sometimes walk towards like Croons and stuff, and then walk up Broadway or the streets around Broadway, like Lakeshore Boulevard, and then head back this way. I used to walk up Park Boulevard all the way up and walk all the streets, Charles Avenue, Grand, all of them over there, Pacific, the first, second, third, whatever. But it was easier to walk, and there was cross streets like Connecticut, Michigan, Illinois, depending on where you were, Pennsylvania. But I used to walk past there all the time, and the house looks a little out of place with the houses around it, because there's a smaller house, and the houses around it necessarily were bigger, but they just looked out of place. I think there was bushes in the front of it. There used to be, at least. But I used to pass all the time, and I used to get a weird vibe from that house. Not like a serial killer vibe lived there, but just a weird vibe. And I get that at a lot of houses, but they don't have to look a little rundown either. But yeah, I used to walk past that house all the time because I would come up that street or the cross street and go down. And I would come up and down those north-south blocks all the time. Not just that street, but other streets as well. But I passed it a ton. Which, whatever. I'm just saying, because I used to live in that, obviously, Massapequa. Even though, like I said, it was Massapequa Park, it's all the same shit. From my house, that house would have been about maybe a 20-minute walk. Because I would go out walking for like 2 hours. And you could walk in Massapequa. The Massapequas, you could walk for 2-3 hours. It's a big town. The towns themselves combined, it's big, whatever. But it's crazy that they finally caught this person, like I said, 12 years later. I think he pleaded not guilty, but he's probably fucked. I would assume it was him. But you never know. I remember the rumors going around back then that they thought people on the police force were involved. Who the hell knows, right? Or whoever. There's all types of rumors going around, and then, like I said, it took years to find the person. But from his picture, he looks unassuming, but you look behind, like you look at his eyes, and they look a little dead. Not to say mine don't look that way sometimes, so. We'll see, though, at least the families of these victims, not all of them, because they found a lot of bodies, at least they have someone now to go after who killed their loved ones, Hopefully it is the actual person, because sometimes they catch someone and it ends up not being the person, but all evidence proves, is pointing towards it, but you never know. Massapequa, though, a lot of, Mary Jo Buttafuoco got shot in Massapequa. They lived here by Amy Fisher. Back in the 90s, the Baldwins lived in Massapequa. The whole family lived in Nassau Shores. A lot of famous people have lived in Massapequa at points. Or at least have gone to high school, like Seinfeld went to Massapequa High School, and I think they mentioned the one gym teacher in a couple of Seinfeld episodes at one point. But yeah, they found out it was Massapequa. I was like, of course it was. Massapequa Park specifically, but I'm going to combine them all. Because I lived in Massapequa, yet if I walked 2 blocks over, I was in Massapequa Park. If I go onto Cartwright Boulevard, I'm in Massapequa Park. You know? And people would go to high school, Massapequa High School, from Massapequa Park, from Massapequa. Or East Massapequa, North, maybe not North. Only parts North Massapequa, because I think other people lived further up north, but either probably have gone to Farmingdale or possibly Plain Edge. But yeah, that's just a little Long Island serial killer. I remember when they were finding the bodies and you forgot about it for years. People were still investigating it, obviously, but it goes out of your head, and then, they finally got the person years later, but that's how long it takes sometimes. And they even said in the article, like, technology advanced and stuff, and they were able to figure some stuff out. I assume they were obviously following this person because they took his pizza crossed out of a garbage can, I think, in the city, so they had eyes on this person clearly for a bit. But yeah, that's, I talk about how I used to walk past that house. It's funny how you just, in general, it's like I walk past the house all the time, and any house, and all of a sudden there's a killer, like a serial killer in there, Even the neighbors they were talking to are like, yeah, I didn't see him much, but he seemed like a regular person. They usually do. But yeah. What I've been watching, a few movies we've watched. I've been watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the new season. It's been as ridiculous as always and funny. Cruel Summer, we're still watching. I watched the first episode of new season of Witcher, but I haven't watched the rest yet. It was alright, the first episode was pretty good. This is Henry Cavill's last season, so I think is it Liam Hemsworth that's going to be Geralt? Going forward, I will give that a chance, but I don't think he's going to be able to do as well as Henry Cavill did, honestly. But I will watch an episode or two just to see. If I'm not into it, I'll stop watching it. Honestly, I was losing a little interest in season 2. And season 2 was better than 1, but you could tell they're moving so far away from the kind of source material. Not so far away, but they're moving. They're taking liberties and stuff, which whatever. That's what happens a lot, but it's up to me if I like it or not. But I know Henry Cavill was excellent as Geralt, so that's going to be big shoes to fill on that one. I don't think he's going to be able to, but you never know. I will give it a chance, though. Like I said, I watched the first episode like 2 weeks ago and haven't watched it since, so. And it wasn't bad, it's just I don't commit to things show-wise a lot lately anymore. Watched a couple of movies. Asteroid City. Is it Wes Anderson? Is that his name? He has his movies have a distinct style to them, and this movie was no different. It had the style, a lot of the same actors you see in a lot of his movies. It was like the point of the movie, I guess, was like it was a play, but they were talking about. Then you had Ed Norton, and he was the writer of the play, so you had those scenes in black and white, and then you go to the actual play, and they intermingle and stuff. Usual weird shit. My fiance didn't like it really at all. She's like, "What is the point of this?" I'm like, "This is how this movie's. These movies you can like them, rate them." I thought it was all right. Kind of praised by a lot of the people in those movies have good ASMR voices, and his dialogue is always usually pretty good, even if it's weird and But they always have a breezy flow. His movies. I thought it was decent. What else? We watched The Blackening, horror comedy. Came out, I don't know, maybe last month. Pretty funny. It was pretty good, actually. I liked it. It wasn't particularly scary, but it was a good satire, and had some moments, and it was a different play on horror movies. All the friends go to this cabin to celebrate Juneteenth, and stuff starts happening, and then you got to figure out who the killer is and stuff like that. Jay Farrow was in it in the beginning. I don't want to spoil anything. I recognize some of the actors. I don't know their names. The sheriff looked familiar. He was in, I think he was in the Drew Carey show. And some of the other people in it too I recognize, but I don't know what they've been in or their names, except Jay Farrow. But it's pretty funny. It had a lot of funny parts. And like I said, it was kind of played with the tropes of horror movies and stuff like that. That was pretty good. What else? We watched it last night. Oh, Insidious, The Red Door. They brought everybody back from the first two. So Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, the kid who played, I don't know his name, who played, I think everybody actually, the two brothers from the originals were there. I don't know their names. They were back again, obviously older. I don't know if the daughter was the same as the originals. Or was... No, because I don't know if the daughter would have been born yet. I guess she was supposed to be born after. I think. I can't remember. I haven't seen the first two in a while. Lin Shaye pops up briefly. The guy who was in the other ones, who puts them under, like, hypnosis. The father. I forget his name. He popped up in it briefly. The two guys who were also in it pop up very briefly in a YouTube video. I forget their names. The one guy, I think, wrote some of the movies. They pop up as well. It wasn't a bad movie, but not enough was going on. I don't know. Like Patrick Wilson and the kid Dalton in the movie. His name in the movie, who was originally, it like runs through the family. I guess the male kind of. Patrick Wilson's dad had it as well, and then he killed himself in a psychiatric ward. And obviously we know, like, it passed down generations. Now Dalton, because in the beginning they forget. They were like hypnotized to forget, and then they start to remember. Stuff comes back, and Dalton goes off to college and stuff, and like not enough stuff happened in this movie. I was like, is this the end? Because it didn't feel long. And, like, not a lot of stuff was happening. It wasn't particularly scary either, so it was probably the weakest of all the ones I've seen. I've not seen The Last Key yet, but I've seen the first three. The third one did not involve, and The Last Key didn't involve. I forget their last names, but that family, Rose Byrne, Patrick Wilson, and the kids, whatever. I wasn't that into it, honestly. But yeah, those movies I watched. Out of the three, The Blackening was my favorite of the three of them. I didn't hate any of them, but Insidious was a little disappointing, I guess. And Asteroid City, you're probably gonna love it or hate it. I thought it was alright. I didn't love or hate it, but I don't know. But yeah, did we watch anything else? I watched The Ring on Paramount Plus the other night. I hadn't seen it in a while. I just had it on the background. It's been a while. I do like The Ring. I like Ringu a little more. The Japanese version, the Western version was obviously a remake. But they both are like more, there's not a lot of death and stuff in it. It's more based on like just subtle scares and shit like that. But I think the Japanese version does it much better. The original version does it better. And I was watching some Beyond Belief still on Tubi and stuff like that. I think I have to eat something soon. It's starting to feel weird. I didn't eat breakfast. I was walking out in the heat, so the Big Lots, so I don't know. Maybe make some beefaroni. But yeah, I gotta do a pickup vid. A big lots of kind of mini hauls of 4 items, but I'll film that later and put that up tomorrow. It's slow as work, so I'm not gonna get as many days this month, which I don't mind sometimes. I'll try to film more videos. I gotta list some stuff on eBay as well. To make up some money. Still playing stuff on Steam. I've been starting to do on Steam because you get the trading cards. Certain games get Steam cards, and then you collect them. You get drops in a game, certain amount of drops, and then you could once you can buy the cards on the market. I sold a few cards on the market. I bought a couple of decks. I put $5 into my Steam wallet, and the cards are typically cheap. You can buy packs of 3 or the single cards if you want to collect the rest you didn't get from drops. Sometimes you can accumulate more drops, drops or whatever. I don't know how that works. But you form badges when you get all the cards. So I did that with Payne's Creek Killings, Vanishing of Ethan Carter, and Broken Sword. So I got those first level ones. You get points to raise your Steam level. But I was getting a little into that with the cards. I was like, I typically want to do it after I get the drops. So I had gotten all my drops in Broken Sword, and I'd gotten all of them in Vanishing of Ethan Carter because I had completed it. And then I waited till I got all of them in Payne's Creek Killing, and then I bought. I eventually got all of them. I bought 2-3 packs of cards, and then you can turn some of your cards into gems, and then craft. Use your gems to craft, packs for games and stuff like that. 3 cards for whatever. Some are more cost more gems than others. I was screwing around with that for a bit. It's kind of cool. And when you build a badge, you get a badge, you take all the cards, and you lose those cards, but you can then get the cards again, I guess by buying decks or getting more drops. And then you get cool perks. You get emoticons or stuff related to the game backgrounds. And then I got 3 coupons for games that I'm not interested in. But yeah, once again, my Steam name is Under Cliches, if anyone gets this far in the video. But I've been playing a lot of the Payne's Creek Killings. I played some Resident Evil Revelations as well. And I was like, I really enjoy that game. I enjoyed it back then, but I remember how much I enjoyed it. I don't remember much from it. And thank you again to the 2 people that gifted me games on there. It was that and Revelations and Submerge, which I have not played yet. But I was playing a lot of the Payne's Creek Killings. I beat the game first real quickly. I played the Suicide of Rachel Foster, another good mystery game that was pretty creepy. Even though not much happens, but it was definitely creepy. Creepy vibe and feel. Pretty good story as well. I recommend that one. I think it might still be on sale. Even after the Steam sale. I know Oxenfree is still on sale. But the Payne's Creek Killings, I'm enjoying. At first, I was kind of like, but then I started getting into it. And you go into play trying to find out the killings in this town. And you got to do a bunch of stuff. So you're going to different places, and then you're finding keys to get into new houses. You got to look at your map, figure out where these houses are. You're trying to find stuff everywhere. You find people's diaries from the town, more keys, other little things you can use, key card or hidden rooms and stuff like that, codes for locks. It's a really cool game. I admit, 1 or 2 times, at least twice, I had to look online to figure some things out because I was going in kind of the wrong order. Not that it matters, but I got to this one place way later than I should have. But it's a really cool game. I'd check it out if you hadn't. It's on Steam. If you're into mystery type stuff, I'm still playing. I think I put 4 hours in so far. Those have been fun. I don't know if this is going to reach a half hour. It might. I'm at 25 minutes now, but I'm starting to get shaky, probably from not eating. And hot because the AC is off. But yeah. Oh, garage sales. I went to like 3 or 4 garage sales this weekend. Nothing doing again. The season's been killing me. I was hoping last weekend when I came across that stuff that was like the start of something, but it wasn't. Because there was no games at any of the garage sales I went to. But yeah, that kind of sucked. But what are you gonna do? Still got time to go. It's only mid-July, so they'll be good to go into early November, typically. But yeah, gotta do the big lots haul. It's funny too. The G.I. Joe classified figures I pre-ordered was supposed to come in like September, but sometimes this happens on Amazon. Where all of a sudden they come a lot earlier, and I'm like, oh shit, the money's gonna come out of my bank sooner. Not that it matters, but I'm kind of excited to get those figures. I might do a pickup vid when I get them. I know a lot of people aren't really interested in that, so I typically don't try to do too many videos related to that stuff. We completed, my fiance completed Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Now we have like this extra things you can do now. It's like a little side mission with the one guy you help out. I forget what he's called. Other little things unlocked. Well, it was a cool game. I'd never played it. It was a Wii. It was a Wii game originally. I thought it was like a Super Nintendo, but it was the Wii. It was a cool game. It looked nice. Classic fun platforming. Not overly hard, but it was fun. I might start collecting horror Blu-rays. I don't know for sure. Because I was looking at some last night, and so many are cheap. And I have Paramount Plus, but I might get rid of that subscription because I don't watch it enough. I really don't. I did watch The Ring on there, but that was the first thing I watched on there in a while. We'll see. A lot of people are watching the word search, word puzzle, crossword puzzle vid. It's funny, I got a comment because I was like, oh my god, this can't be beginner, is it? And then I didn't realize on the bottom of the book it said ages 3+. So they just made a joke. If a guy didn't respond to the comment, yeah, but they just kind of threw a joke out there. And I was like, I'm going to respond. I was like, I didn't even see that. I was like, how are 3-year-olds doing this? A 5-year-old maybe. 3-year-olds, come on now. But yeah, I'm just not that great at those. I can get some things, but like so many answers. There could be like 10 answers that it could possibly be, and then you gotta try to figure out which one. But yeah. I might end up doing my full game collection video in August again, after I get some more games. But I'll probably do it. I talked about this in the past. I'm probably doing 2 parts because it would be like a 2-hour video now, and I just don't want to go that long. So I might do 2 parts. Well, I will definitely do 2 parts of it. I've been getting a lot of like comments in regards to like a Q&A. I've done 2 or 3 Q&As in the past. I may do another one. I'm not sure. I mean, I probably will at some point, but I don't know when. Maybe like 13 or 14,000 subs. I'd say 15, but that's going to take me too long to get there. It'll be another 2 years. No, another year or something. Unless I get into the algorithm again. Who knows? I'm starting to sweat. Yeah, I guess there's nothing else really to ramble about here. Talked about some movies, talked about Lawrence or Geller, talked about some games. Garage sales briefly. Nothing else really doing on that front. And I got out and rode my bike again to these G sales, but I can cover more ground, but I wasn't finding anything related to even signs or anything about it, so. We'll see how it does going forward. so I guess I can consider it a long ramble. I gotta do another Goosebumps reading from that book again. I had forgotten about that. I did the one from that Japanese folklore book I got. It's back there somewhere. I gotta go back to that Goosebumps book. There's a couple videos I need to still do. But yeah. That is just a half hour. Kind of long, right? I guess. Real quickly too. Somebody had mentioned making a Discord in a comment, and that's like the chat thing, right? It's like a chat, like you can chat with people and stuff. I guess they add you or something like that. If anybody gets this far in the video, let me know if you have one or something. If anybody else is interested in that, or maybe I'll mention that in another video as well. Because I guess I would do one maybe to chat with people and stuff. I don't know. And I do want to do a live stream at some point as well. I get asked about that. I need to do one of those at some point as well. But anyway, let's just say